Morning. Today we would be talking about the topics. Those include number one, Myanmar conflict is a regional issue related to GS2. Another is HbA1c test and how it is useful for diabetes GS3. Third topic will be health as an election manifesto and right to health. It can be covered under GS3. This is a right actually that can be asked directly in the exam. Food coloring in Karnataka banned. It's part of the GS3 and what are the reasons behind it and what is the utilization. Then comes regulations on artificial intelligence that can be part of GS2, 3 and essays. Welcome to our channel Preparation Pulse IAS. For a daily basis we have been teaching you the daily current affairs and the ability to connect these or build content and use these in the GS answers. When we talk about the Myanmar conflict, how it is a regional issue, we should think that yes, Myanmar has been a trouble. As you know, Myanmar is in our east and for India it's a gateway to the Asian countries. Myanmar is a part of the Asian countries also. So Myanmar conflict can become a regional problem. For that, Asian countries and others need to support Myanmar's media and people in their battle for truly democratic country. As we know, 3 years ago on March 9, 2021, army pulled up in front of headquarters in Yangon, Myanmar. Soldiers proceeded to ransack and loot the offices. The scene played out across the city. What happened actually? That Myanmar's democratically elected government was thrown out of office and Myanmar Janta means Myanmar's military took over that particular riots. So since then Myanmar has been under army's rule. With many being targeted, a number of media journalists were forced to abandon their native places and seek refugees. Myanmar is also facing a problem where close to 2 million within Myanmar and some 1.5 million refugee seekers have been forced from their homes since the coup. Coup means when army actually overthrew the government that was democratically elected. The fact that Myanmar's media has been forced to maintain a presence in neighboring countries is further evidence that Myanmar conflict is not confined to Myanmar. It also has neighbors like Bangladesh, China, India and Thailand, which place extreme humanitarian demands on these countries. The collapse of rule of law has led to an explosion of criminal activity with not only negative repercussions but also for regional countries. When we talk about how it is important for Myanmar to be peaceful, number one, because it's a part of the Asian countries. And Asian countries, if any of the Asian countries go and face problems of peace related issues, then it also brings a challenge for ASEAN Charter also. So Asian countries regional stability also goes for a toss. Number two, for India it is also threat because India shares border with Myanmar and its northeastern region actually is close to Myanmar. So northeastern region there can be influx of not only refugees but also all those people who do the organized crimes and then after they run away into Myanmar's territory. So all those people who are involved in the criminal nexus gangs can do crime in India and can run to Myanmar without facing rule of law. Myanmar is also important because India's options in Myanmar are limited, either to support democracy or do some kind of relationship with military. So that's why the country's relationship with Myanmar can continue. As you also know that Myanmar is a part of India Myanmar Thailand highway and that highway is also now progressing. It is even part of some infrastructure project to open connectivity to the northeastern region from Kolkata to Sitwe port and then after to northeastern states. It can actually come and solve the problem of chicken corridor that is close to 18-19 kilometer and that has a problem regarding China's incursions etc. It can face issue tomorrow or in the coming time whenever there is a conflict, suppose there is a conflict with China or etc. So chicken corridor, so to come above the probability of chicken corridor status, India is trying to build this particular highway also. So Myanmar is important in that regard as well. And you also know that China's role is also growing in Myanmar, and because of China is not a democracy, and in Myanmar there is no democracy, so relationship with Myanmar and China can also blossom, and in that aspect India's chances or India's role can be limited. The same way the USA role also can get affected, because USA does not support the military rule in Myanmar, and it supports only the democratic rule, even the European Union countries also. So all those countries which actually, if they do not talk to military, then their options in Myanmar become lesser, and China actually can take advantage. And problem is Myanmar is sitting at the borders with India. That's why Myanmar's conflict is a regional problem. Another problem is about the Rohingya crisis. Rohingyas is basically also a regional immigration issue threat to either Thailand, Bangladesh, and close to India. These kind of people actually, are not directly, may or may not be involved into some crime, but there are always dangers that these groups, some elements in these groups can be radicalized and can then be used to threat India or to create any kind of internal security challenges. That's why Myanmar conflict is important, and how it is important I have already told you. Now comes the another question, and that is HbA1c test. HbA1c test is for diabetes. All individuals older than 30 years should be screened for diabetes. India, as you know, there are two kind of diseases are emerging in the country. One that is related to the lifestyle, and another actually that is related to the genetic issues. Lifestyle problems actually are now increasing, and India is estimated to have close to 10.13 crore people, 10 crore 13 lakh people with diabetes, and another 13 crore people with pre-diabetic symptoms. It was a nationwide study that was published in 2023. So you can talk about these issues. This apart, over 35% of Indians suffer from hypertension and nearly 40% from abdominal obesity, both of which are risk factor for diabetes. India is regarded as a diabetes capital, and it accounts for close to 17% of all diabetes patients in the world. So you can utilize this particular data. There can be a question in GS3 regarding India is regarded as a diabetes capital across the globe, and how and why it is so. So you can give this particular data also. So what are the fighting mechanism? You see, non-communicable diseases which are prevalent and which are getting a major threat in our country. Non-communicable diseases means diseases like heart disease, diseases like diabetes, etc. So prevention and early detection are the keys. Prevention and early detection are the keys to fight or to combat this communicable disease burden. One of the most commonly used tests to diagnose pre-diabetes and diabetes type 1 or 2 and to help manage diabetes is the HbA1c test. HB means hemoglobin, A1c test also known as the glycated hemoglobin or glycosylated hemoglobin test. How does this test work? So why it is important? Because you can be asked in GS3 directly about this particular test, or even actually the burden of non-communicable diseases, or even why India is regarded as a diabetes capital and what are the solutions. So you can write few of the solutions like that. Sugar enters your bloodstream from the food that we eat. The sugar or glucose attaches to the hemoglobin in your red blood cells. Hemoglobins are the proteins that transport oxygen to all your cells in the body. Everybody has same sugar attached to their hemoglobin. Those with pre-diabetes or diabetes, however, have more. The HbA1c test measures the percentage of your red blood cells that have sugar-coated hemoglobin. So what is this test? Hemoglobin HbA1c test is the one that measures the percentage of your blood cells, RBC cells, which have sugar-coated hemoglobin. HbA1c was first discovered in 1955, but elevated HbA1c levels in diabetes patients were not noted until 1968. HbA1c was later correlated with blood glucose levels in hospitalized patients with diabetes and was proposed for monitoring glycemia. So during the first years of clinical use, HB1 measures were inconsistent, but as the importance of precise HbA1c measurements became apparent through studies that revealed better patient outcomes and mortality associated with lower average HbA1c test, the need to reduce error margins in measurement became apparent. So, how the H1B test result looks like? So, in HbA1c levels are provided as either a percentage or in mol per mole, means millimoles per mole. That's why a mole is a unit of measurement often used for chemical substances. The higher the percentage, the higher your blood glucose levels are. So in pre-diabetes, it can be a very helpful test. And now, why I'm telling you also this particular topic, because HbA1c test can be directly asked, and burden of India in the non-communicable disease can be asked also in the examination. And why India is a diabetes capital, you can utilize this particular data. We now move on to the third topic, and that is health on your manifesto this election? You know, India, that is the largest democracy, is now going under a gigantic exercise from the model code of conduct that has imposed, and up to June 4, where the last election will be held. So in this election, we have talked about right to health, right to education, etc. So this right-based approach, they are saying that is health on your manifesto this election. So how it can be helpful? You see, first of all, health. Why? Because India has been now emerging as a health trouble country. In our country, certain health interventions like insurance coverage, medicines are getting cheaper, etc. has been initiated. Some states like Rajasthan have even introduced right to health bill also. So the question arises, can right to health be a part of our manifesto, or do we have to have right to health? The feeling for it also was necessitated because we have an accredited social health activist network in our country that go to the bottom level of the society, and how helpful they were in COVID period and increasing the institutional deliveries is well and noteworthy. That's why certain people call for strengthening the building blocks in delivering universal health coverage. Whenever we talk about universal health coverage, then they said that these kind of facilities can be building blocks. We need to also improve the health to GDP figure, which hovers somewhere around 1 to 1.5% of the GDP. And health is one of the problem which not only gives people, which not only brings people out of the, which again forces people back into the poverty if some health crisis emerges. So back and forth between poverty and above poverty line is also a problem that can be dealt with. So when we talk about right to health actually, goes back when the origin of the right to health was somewhere in the first international organization WHO came into existence. It is also regarded as a basic building block of human dignity and to save people from growing disease burden. When we talk about significance of it, then it can not only improve the universal health care coverage, it can also give a wide access to the health services. Wide access to the health services at deterministic and cheaper rates can also be simplified for our country. Citizens' right also. Health is likely to get lost in the noise, and there are chances that health can get lost in the noise and dins at other political manifestos. The health allocation at 1.1 to 1.6% of GDP is the world's lowest, and expenditure income on health determinants like drinking water and sanitation should be provided separately. So with right to health comes like problems of sanitation and other issues like drinking water. So they say that if we provide right to health, these kind of adjacencies can also happen. So it can also reduce out-of-pocket expenditure. That is what I told you, that those people in a health crisis, during a time of health crisis, they can be thrown back into the below poverty line status, that can also be saved. But with that also comes the challenges. Number one, challenges about the health infrastructure. As we know, India has close to 1.6 beds in the hospitals per 1,000 people. The doctors number per 1,000 number is also very lesser, close to 0.8. And then after 27% of our population resides in metro cities, while 73% of our population actually is rural. So to provide healthcare to them is a very, very big far cry. And we also know that right now our health and rural areas only have either a primary health center or a very, very basic health center. So tomorrow, if right to health is made if health is made a right, then to deal with the dealers of people can be big issue. And when you are giving a right of a particular thing, then if that right is not granted, you can reach to the judiciary, and then judiciary backlog also increases without the infrastructure. So first of all, we need to create an infrastructure that can cater to the rising demand. So whether we provide right to health or not, but India should improve on these figures where there are only 0.8 doctors per 1000 people. There are only 1.6 beds per 1000 people, and the private infrastructure is also inadequate. Till that time we improve our private healthcare facility also, the innovation and the disease cannot be handled in an efficient manner, because we know that government's ability to spend on the health is also limited. As we know how hard we try, the health expenditure of the government as a percentage of GDP has been like 1.1 to 1.6% of the GDP. So we need to take care of it. We need to also provide right to health, because India is now emerging as a disease capital of the world. But to deal with, we have a burden like of other issues where there are people who even do not have that same level of awareness in that is available in other geographies. So this is the way whether we can have the right to health bill or what can be other mediums. Now another question arises, and that is why Karnataka has banned food coloring. What is the trouble? So food coloring that was used in the cotton candy has been banned by Karnataka. The Karnataka government recently banned the use of a popular coloring agent used in the preparation of gobi Manchurian and cotton candy, with a violation attracting imprisonment up to 7 years and fine up to 10 lakhs. So consumption of snacks containing these artificial colors may pose long-term health risks including cancer. Therefore, the health department has taken this particular necessary action. So why this action? Because of this particular issue. Artificial coloring was found in 107 of the 171 gobi Manchurian samples tested by the state government, and in 15 of the 25 cotton candy samples. Cotton candy, famous cotton candy that we eat, it is also understood like as a guddi ke baal also. Artificial coloring that was found in 107 samples was this. Based on these findings, an order has been issued to ban the use of prohibited artificial coloring, including what is the name? Rhodamine B. So rhodamine B in gobi Manchurian and cotton candy. What is rhodamine B? So rhodamine B is a coloring agent, is in any case not fit for human consumption. It is not one permitted food coloring agent under India's food safety regulations also. Rhodamine B gives red and pink colors to cloths, paper, leather, plastic, etc. It may lead to acute toxicity if ingested. Exposure to this particular rhodamine chemical may also damage the eye and can cause irritation in the respiratory tract. So while the International Agency for Research on Cancer, the World Health Organization body that maintains a list of cancer-causing agents, says it cannot be classified as carcinogenic to humans, some studies have shown carcinogenic effect on the rats also. So is rhodamine frequently added to the food products in India? Rhodamine B is usually reported from small roadside vendors in small cities. This is because lack of understanding about the dyes that are permissible in our food items. Dyes, colors. Small vendors are not aware of this particular dye. It can be harmful or not. They might just go to a shop and ask for a red color, not knowing what is given to them. So why food colors are allowed by the Food Security Act? So the question arises that okay, when there are certain food coloring agents, and food coloring agents, people at the bottom level of the society do not know what is or what kind of chemicals are there in the food coloring agents. So why food colors are altogether allowed? The Food Safety and Standard Authority of India, that is FSSAI, the country's apex food safety regulator, allows the use of very few natural and synthetic color in food items. There is also a restrictions on which color can be used in what type of foods. Rhodamine B is a common red dye. It's even used in holy colors also. However, it is thought to be a carcinogenic and its use is not permitted in food products. Only about 10 colors are allowed to be used in the food, says founder of the Food Safety Helpline. He further says that permitted natural food colors include carotene and carotenoids, chlorophyll, riboflavin, caramel, annatto, derived from the seed of an American tree, saffron, and curcumin. Permitted synthetic colors include red from Poncio 4R, etc. So even permissible colors, however, are not allowed in all foods. Items that can use these colors inside ice creams, biscuit cakes, confectionery, fruit syrups, and custard powder, jelly crystals, and carbonated. So we need to take care of these kind of things. So it can be also asked in the examination that how the food coloring agents have been proven to be deadly. Even you can write this particular answer in building non-communicable disease argument as well. So this is one of the particular issue. Another issue that is about the intelligent balance. So the European Union that has now come with a AI Act. We know that lawmakers in the European Parliament voted overwhelmingly in favor of the Artificial Intelligence Act. As and when we talk about the Artificial Intelligence Act, artificial intelligence is basically creating a lot many headlines these days. Artificial intelligence ability to influence votes, influence people's mindset, deepfakes, people's dignity, etc. are now coming into forefront. Artificial intelligence, multiple other initiatives that can be helpful for people is noteworthy also, whether this is in the healthcare, whether this is in the analysis of a particular data or any other government policy actions and feedback programs. But whenever we are talking about the regulation necessity, then also comes into mind this kind of things. Defects you must have known, so these are the problems. So European Union Parliament has overwhelmingly voted in favor of an Artificial Intelligence Act. And what does this landmark legislation do? It take effect by the end of year. Governments across the world are moving to put up guardrails in front of AI, including Japan, Brazil, and the US. President Joe Biden on October 30 also signed an executive order on AI safety. So whenever you are asked a question like this one, that artificial intelligence is necessary but world is falling short of regulations, at least you can mention these facts there. Even the question can be also asked that world over there is now tendency to control artificial intelligence, unregulated tendencies, so you can also utilize this particular thing. So European Union's this particular act can be a cornerstone or can be a foundational thing for other people to follow and save the population from general harassment that can be brought forth by the AI. European Union's new law is the first comprehensive framework. We need to remember it is the first comprehensive framework for governing a technology that has seen explosive growth. It's a horizontal, risk-based approach that will apply across all sectors that AI development does. The European Union AI Act classifies the technology into 4 categories. What are the 4 categories? Number 1, prohibited. Number 2, high risk. Number 2, limited risk. And number 4, minimal risk. So category AI is now being categorized into 4. Again, I am telling you, prohibited, high risk, limited risk, and minimal risk. So systems that violate or threaten human rights through examples like social scoring, creating a risk profile of people based on desirable or undesirable behavior, or mass surveillance are banned outrightly. So that comes under the prohibited category. So you can say that artificial intelligence that can actually create trouble for human rights, like social scoring, where they create risk profile of people based on desirable or undesirable behavior, or is there any kind of mass surveillance, are banned outright. There are high risk system which have significant impact on people's life and rights, such as those like for biometric identification, or in education, health, or in law enforcement. They will have to meet strict enforcement, including human oversight and security and conformity assessment, before they can be put to market or for commercialization use. Systems involving users interaction like chatbot and image generation programs are classified as limited categories. So even chatbots like ChatGPT, etc., are now in the category of limited risk, and they are required. The companies are required to inform users that they are interacting with AI and allow them to opt out. The most widely used systems which pose no or negligible risk, such as spam filters or smart appliances, are categorized as minimal risk. Smart appliances, like even whenever we either talk to Google or talk to iPhones, etc., or Amazon's Alexa, etc. So these are still regarded as a minimal risk because these are posing no or negligible risk. They will be exempt from regulation but will need to comply with existing laws. So AI is now categorized under four categories, and even you can build your answer whenever you are writing about the AI in any kind of essay or other particular governance challenges regarding AI. You can say that rather than banning AI altogether, we can categorize them. Certain technologies under AI will them be found under a very limited or very restricted category, and few of the categories which are even beneficial or possess or not possess any other risk, that can be put under minimum risk category. European Union's artificial intelligence is also important because it was the same European Union which was first among a comprehensive regulation which put together general data protection regulation regime that also regulated or influenced data privacy regulation around the world. The impact of this particular AI Act by European Union is to be felt globally. The history of use technology, but we need to also make sure that yes, AI can be beneficial for all those tasks actually which a human may or may not do. Even in manual scavenging, the the robots also can be more helpful, and AI can also bring more efficiency into those systems. The role of AI in healthcare innovation is immense. The data reading capability of AI is also the computing ability to not only forecast a weather event or an emergency is also noteworthy. So, with regulations, these kind of things also should not get stifled. India's startup ecosystem also is a fledgling startup ecosystem, and close to 350 startups are working in the AI area, and by strict regulations, these also cannot be stifled. So India should welcome some regulations, or India can actually take some leaf out of this kind of regulatory sandbox that has been prepared by EU. But we need to be careful that over regulation can also kill one particular new technology. So before the technology has taken roots in our lives, we should not over regulate it. But regulation is definitely mandatory where human rights or there is a threat to the human angle at in any particular cost. So AI in our country also, we can then categorize these AI technologies into multiple things. Just like for us, the driverless cars are a no-go. So India has not allowed any driverless cars, whether that technology to be tested in the country or anything. So the same can be categorized into other aspects also. So this is how the AI should be dealt with. So today, these were the topics that we discussed. We are discussing the topic on a daily basis so that whatever the general current affairs or newspaper articles those are appearing in the news can be helpful for you to not only build your knowledge system but also learn many dimensions, learn the art of content building, and even write those particular content in your answers across the GS. If you feel that you need to give some feedback, you can give us. If you feel that there is a genuine effort that we are putting, please like and subscribe to our button. It will make us even stronger. For more such videos, you can like the button and subscribe the channel. Thank you.